The day is coming to an end, and the streets are bathed in the warm golden glow of the setting sun. A lone lady wanders, her form silhouetted against the fading horizon. Her pace is consistent, leisurely, and almost contemplative. Her loneliness is intriguing. You can't help but think about her narrative. Why is she walking this route alone? Is it a purposeful decision, or has life placed this seclusion on her? Have you ever felt like her, surrounded by people yet strangely invisible? Like a bystander in a world that doesn't seem to get you. Perhaps you've stood in a packed room, surrounded by talk, only to feel like an out-of-place jigsaw piece. Being out of sync, pursuing a different road than everyone else, may seem alienating. What if it isn't a flaw? What if it is a sign? Walking alone does not always imply loneliness. For others, it's a purposeful decision, a journey fueled by bravery, contemplation, and a desire for something more. The lady who goes alone is neither damaged nor incomplete. She is outstanding. She has decided to value honesty, inner tranquility, and purpose, even if it means taking a route that few others can follow. This message is for anybody who has ever felt out of place and wondered why they don't seem to fit into the mold that the world provides. It's for those who want genuine connections but won't settle for superficial interactions. It's for individuals who feel as if they're marching to the beat of their own drum. If any of this sounds familiar, you've come to the right spot. Today, we will look at the incredible journey of a lady who walks alone. This is not a story of misery or loneliness, but rather of courage, change, and quiet resilience. We'll look at the obstacles she experiences, the insight she learns from isolation, and the tremendous benefits of following her own path. By the conclusion of this voyage, you'll realize that traveling alone is more than simply a choice. It's a calling. But let us be clear, this is not an easy journey. Choosing isolation in a society that emphasizes conformity is a brave decision. It entails facing judgment, overcoming uncertainty, and finding courage when others may stumble. But it's also a path of incredible development, self-discovery, and connection to something bigger than oneself. Consider this. How often do we want affirmation from others? How often do we shape ourselves to suit molds that do not represent who we actually are? The lady who goes alone makes various choices. She moves away from the mob not out of need, but because she understands that her path requires it. She stands like a beacon in the middle of the storm, unflinching, not seeking the approval of the waves, but performing a mission only she knows. As we uncover her narrative, take a time to consider your own. Have you ever felt disconnected from the rest of the world, as if your spirit craves something more than what civilization has to offer? If so, please remain with us. What we discover may change how you see yourself and your trip. The lady who goes alone does not dread loneliness. She sees it as a refuge for development and self-discovery, rather than an emptiness to be filled. While others fear being alone, she finds power in it. She takes this time to figure out who she is and what she actually wants from life. Her path is not about avoiding people or relationships, but about pursuing honesty. She refuses to settle for superficial ties. She waits for connections that speak to her spirit, even if it means traveling her road alone for a time. This seclusion is not without obstacles. In a world that values popularity and superficial connections, she may feel like an alien. She may even doubt herself, asking why she does not conform to societal standards as easily as others do. Her originality, however, stems from this disparity. Her capacity to go beyond the surface and discover deeper realities distinguishes her. She is not interested in what is simple or comfortable. She longs for something genuine, long-lasting, and in line with her soul's mission. Walking alone might be lonely, but it also allows for more clarity and purpose. By choosing isolation, she allows the appropriate people to enter her life, those who see her for who she actually is. Her seclusion is not a rejection of others, but rather a monument to her judgment. It represents her awareness of what is actually important. Imagine her at a party, surrounded by spirited talk and laughing. While others get caught up in the excitement, she seeks out the uncommon person who shares her desire for depth. She often finds herself alone, not because she is incapable of connecting, but because her criteria for connection are higher than the majority. She is not lured to small chat or shallow conversations. She seeks soul-nourishing chats and genuine partnerships. Her desire for depth over superficiality is not a flaw, but rather a strength. It demonstrates her clear awareness of her principles. While many people want quantity, more friends, acquaintances, she prefers quality. She prefers a few meaningful relationships to a sea of superficial ones. However, this strength is not without its problems. The world often honors people who easily conform to societal standards. The lady who goes alone may feel out of place, but her capacity to accept this disparity is her strength. By following her path, she illustrates that genuine connection is not about numbers. It's about finding people who really see you. As she continues her trip, she demonstrates that isolation is something to be embraced rather than feared. It provides lessons, progress, and the power that can only come from inside. While her street may seem quiet, it is not deserted. It's full of promise, self-discovery, and development. For individuals who believe their journey is unique and who struggle with the concept of going alone, realize this: you are not alone. Your trip is valid and has purpose. It takes guts to break away from the throng and pursue your own path. However, doing so exposes you to exceptional development and the opportunity to form relationships that resonate with your innermost beliefs. The woman who walks alone does not seek isolation out of fear, but rather embraces it as an opportunity for development and clarity. She refuses to settle for the easy option. She picks what is genuine, certain that her journey would ultimately take her to individuals who share her beliefs and depth. Her narrative questions the concept that our value is determined by our social circles or how well we fit in. It teaches us that genuine strength comes from understanding who we are and having the fortitude to live truly, even if it means taking a route that few can follow. As we continue, we'll look at 7 compelling realities about wandering alone. These ideas will explain why this trip is not only legitimate, but also transformational. By the end, you'll understand why walking alone isn't a sign of weakness. Rather, it demonstrates resilience and a dedication to live genuinely. Let us take the first step together. The power of isolation is great for the lady who chooses to go alone. To her, isolation is not an emptiness that must be filled, but rather a place of quiet and contemplation. While some may fear quiet and contemplation, while some may fear quiet and strive to escape it via noise, diversions, or companionship, she finds consolation in stillness. This is when she reconnects with her true self, assesses her life's course, and discovers her purpose. The world around us is often a flurry of activity, encouraging us to fill every minute with something, whether movement, noise, or connection. Stepping away from the commotion isn't a choice for her, it's an integral part of who she is. In Alone, she hears her own voice, that quiet intuition that gets lost in the hurry and bustle of everyday life. Imagine, she cannot help but feel the peaceful presence that gets lost in the commotion of everyday life. What others may view as a lonely time, she sees as a chance for stillness, introspection, and inner serenity. In these peaceful times, she examines her ideas, explores her emotions, and finds strengths she was unaware she had. However, isolation isn't necessarily a relaxing experience. Sometimes the stillness seems heavy, and the absence of people is tangible. Outsiders' questions, such as, "Why are you always by yourself?" might add to the weight of misunderstanding. Nonetheless, she stays steady, understanding that isolation is not a sign of failure or rejection, but rather a holy place where she may nourish her soul, refocus her attention, and become more anchored in her core. Consider her a lighthouse that stands steady on a rough shore. The seas may smash against her and storms may rage, yet her light stays constant. Her loneliness serves as both an anchor and a source of resilience. Many people associate being alone with loneliness, but for her, isolation means development, discovery, and a stronger connection to herself. It is here that she learns to trust her inner compass, free of others' expectations and judgments. This does not imply that she devalues relationships. In fact, spending time alone allows her to appreciate genuine interactions even more. She recognizes that in order to be true in her relationships, she must first nourish herself. Her decision to accept isolation exemplifies her bravery. It takes courage to move away from the throng, to avoid filling the silence with noise, and to face oneself in calm. This route is not for everyone, but she pursues it with dedication. Her isolation is her refuge, where she finds calm. Walking alone isn't for the faint of heart. It is a route that presents unique obstacles, and the woman who chooses it must endure hardships that would intimidate many others. These trials, however, do not destroy her. Instead, they build her into a stronger, more resolute, and resilient individual. Imagine standing in the center of a hurricane, the wind blowing against you, the rain soaking you through, and knowing you have no choice but to keep pushing ahead. This is her reality. Each stride she takes demonstrates her strength, not just physically, but also emotionally and spiritually. The world may judge, isolate, or humiliate her, yet she bends without breaking. She perseveres like a tree in an open field, swaying in the wind but digging deeper. Her struggles are stepping stones, not hurdles. Each struggle teaches her more about who she is, how to develop, and what is actually important. Pain and uncertainty are not unfamiliar to her. There are times when the weight of loneliness seems intolerable. She worries whether her choices are correct and feels the pain of loneliness. But even at these times, she perseveres. Her resilience is defined by her capacity to persevere in the face of adversity. She views setbacks as chances to strengthen her commitment and learn from her experiences rather than obstacles. This resilience also enables her to remain loyal to herself. While some may sacrifice their convictions to fit in or ease their path, she remains true to her principles. Her struggles create her foundation, and her scars demonstrate her strength. She understands that life isn't about never falling, but about constantly having the courage to rise again. She creates a life that matches her beliefs and purpose, demonstrating that resilience is about flourishing rather than just surviving. Her constant inner confidence propels her capacity to continue pushing ahead. Her confidence in herself is calm and unwavering. It does not seek affirmation or praise. It just exists, like a constant flame that burns independent of the surrounding conditions. She follows her path not out of uncertainty, but because she understands and trusts herself. Imagine her climbing a high, rough mountain route. She doesn't halt to check who is behind her or wait for someone to direct her movements. Instead, she marches on, confident in her instincts and abilities to reach the peak. Her confidence isn't about proving herself to others, it's about sticking to her own path. This self-assurance was not handed to her, she earned it. Every struggle, disappointment, and accomplishment has increased her confidence in her ability. This confidence allows her to dismiss internal and external doubts. Others may dispute her decisions or condemn her seclusion, but she stays focused. She realizes that her route does not need to make sense to others, as long as it is consistent with her principles. Her inner confidence also empowers her to establish limits. She does not let others define her value or control her path. She avoids toxic relationships and circumstances that are detrimental to her development. This self-assurance may make her seem remote to some, yet it is a reflection of her strength. She understands the value of authenticity and refuses to settle for less. Her assurance is not based on invulnerability. It's about understanding her worth, especially in times of weakness. She accepts her feelings, learns from them, and never loses sight of who she is. This unwavering self-belief enables her to stand up and keep going ahead, regardless of how unclear the route may seem. Walking alone is one of the most difficult challenges, being misunderstood by others. Society often finds it difficult to understand why a woman takes this route. Her independence may be seen as isolation, her strength as aloofness, and her solitude as loneliness. People mutter behind her back, wondering why she doesn't have many friends and believing she's tough to get along with. They fail to recognize that her path is one of purpose rather than exclusion. Imagine her at a crossroads. One road is full, with the comfort of conformity and approbation. The other is quieter, less trafficked, and more demanding. She chose the latter, not because it is easier, but because it is consistent with her ideals and real self. Misunderstandings do not just occur between strangers, even those closest to her, family and friends. Occasionally doubt her decisions, mistaking her seclusion for rejection or apathy. This may be difficult, but she understands that her acts serve a greater cause. Living a life true to herself often involves failing others' expectations, which she accepts gracefully. The continual judgment may tire others down, but she utilizes it to fuel her path. While many people dread being misunderstood, she welcomes it as part of her unique journey. She understands that being true to oneself is more essential than conforming into society's expectations. And as she goes, she demonstrates that misunderstanding is not a weakness, but rather a monument to her bravery and commitment. Her path, however alone, is one of fortitude, endurance, and quiet victory. It's not about being alone. It's about pursuing a route that matches her core beliefs and goals. She understands that people evaluations often reflect their own doubts and fears, rather than a real appraisal of her worth. Her capacity to rise beyond being misunderstood originates from her deep self-awareness. She doesn't require external approval, since she is certain that her decisions are in line with her reality. For her, isolation is a gift, a holy place in which she may contemplate, develop, and heal in accordance with her larger purpose. Imagine her like a tranquil lake under a moonlight sky. To some, its silence may seem devoid of life, yet under the surface lurks a huge, dynamic ecosystem, a world that only those with patience can enjoy. Similarly, her life may look quiet or solitary to others who do not understand her, yet it is full of purpose, depth, and self-discovery. She understands that being different is not a weakness, but rather a great asset. As she continues on her path, she provides as a modest but strong example of true life in the face of misinterpretations. Her tale offers us an essential lesson. Being misunderstood is often the price of being true to oneself. For her, the investment is worthwhile, since her objective is to completely accept who she was born to be, rather than to conform to conventional norms. Solitude as a crucible of purpose. For the lady who travels her journey alone, isolation is more than just finding moments of peace. It is a transforming experience. This time alone is not wasted or meaningless. It is a deliberate place for thought and alignment. While many people fill their life with diversions like social media, incessant talk, or the never-ending chase of societal standards, she deliberately takes a different route. Her time alone helps her to reconnect with what is actually important. In a world full with noise, it's easy to lose touch with one's inner voice. The constant stream of external data often drowns out the murmurs of the soul. Solitude gives her an opportunity to escape the commotion. In those quiet times, she discovers clarity. Imagine her beneath a canopy of stars, feeling linked to something far bigger than herself. In these times of intense quiet, she may hear her inner truth. She uses this time to ponder life's most fundamental questions. Why am I here? What gives me joy? What legacy do I want to leave behind? These inquiries, however tough, lead her to a better knowledge of herself. She reflects, writes, meditates, and sits quietly with her thoughts, building a picture of her true self. However, this trip is not always easy. There are times when the solitude seems overbearing, or she wonders whether she is on the right track. However, she recognizes that the suffering is a necessary part of the process. It motivates her to go deeper and believes that her mission will become apparent with time. Her life's significance does not emerge in a single revelatory moment. Rather, it unfolds gradually. She understands that purpose should be nurtured rather than pursued. Each day spent in solitary reflection takes her closer to living in accordance with her fundamental beliefs. This clarity empowers her to say no to endeavors that are not aligned, even if they are socially acceptable. Her decisions are not motivated by outward affirmation, but by what resonates profoundly inside her. Imagine her as an artist with a blank canvas. Her alone gives her the freedom to imagine, explore, and create something completely hers. She takes her time because she recognizes that the most important goals are nourished, not pushed. This allows her to live a more real and intentional life. What others view as nothingness, she sees as a wonderful chance for development and discovery. Her tale is a compelling reminder that the most profound solutions are often given only when we have the fortitude to sit with life's issues in silence. By embracing isolation, she not only learns her purpose, but also serves as a silent inspiration to others. Her seclusion is not a refuge, but rather a portal to tremendous possibilities. trusting in divine timing. A valuable lesson for the woman who travels alone is to recognize that her path follows no one else's schedule except her own, and that it often coincides with divine timing. For her, life is not a race to match societal expectations. Instead, it is an intentional unfolding that takes patience, faith, and a willingness to face the unknown. Have you ever felt that your life's rhythm does not match those around you? Perhaps others seem to be sprinting forward, completing milestones, developing connections, and finding success, while you wonder why your route seems slower or less definite. This is her reality too. Instead of becoming disheartened, she believes in her life's particular rhythm. Every move she makes seems led by something bigger than herself. She defines her success not by the speed with which she achieves her goals, but by how closely her actions line with her inner truth. She realizes that delays, impediments, and quiet seasons are not setbacks, but rather important pauses for preparation. Consider her like a seed planted in fruitful soil. While others grow swiftly and seek for the light, she concentrates on developing her roots. Though some may regard her accomplishments as little, it is critical in laying the groundwork for her to thrive when the time comes. Her confidence in divine timing is not without hurdles. There are times of uncertainty, irritation, and desire when she wonders why her life does not seem to move quicker, or why chances seem to be just out of grasp. However, she chooses to perceive these experiences as part of a larger plan. Her faith in the process enables her to navigate through life with peace and purpose. She does not settle for what seems to be wonderful on the surface. Instead, she seeks chances and connections that speak to her deepest truth. When doors open, she boldly walks through them, knowing they are intended for her. This mindset also influences how she interacts with the people and situations in her life. She recognizes that not all connections are designed to stay forever. Some individuals enter her life to teach her lessons, some to encourage her development, and a select few to accompany her for the long haul. Each interaction has a purpose, and she greets them all with thankfulness and grace. Her life is like an exquisite tapestry. Up close, the individual strands may seem chaotic and jumbled. However, when observed from a distance, the beauty of the pattern becomes apparent. A masterpiece created with patience, trust, and perseverance. Trusting in divine timing enables her to recognize her own path while avoiding the urge to conform or compare. Her path does not need to follow society conventions since it is perfectly aligned with her spirit. This profound faith frees her from the urge to haste, seek acceptance, or conform to molds that were never intended for her. Instead, she fully accepts her journey, believing everything will develop just as it should. Her experience teaches us that the most beautiful things in life are not hurried. They arrive when we are ready. The cosmos is ready, and everything is in perfect harmony. A journey of courage and grace. If this resonates with you, remember that your journey is unique to you. Every step you take demonstrates your strength, endurance, and will to live truthfully. Solitude, although sometimes misinterpreted, is not a nothingness, but rather a place for deep growth. It enables you to get clarity, accept your mission, and connect with the natural rhythm of your life. Her trip shows us that walking alone is not about solitude, but about purpose. It's about moving away from the world's cacophony to uncover your own inner beauty and power. In doing so, she demonstrates the fortitude required to live in accordance with our true selves. Thank you for being here and sharing this journey with us. May you continue to walk with bravery, faith, and a firm conviction in your own path. Stay connected and let this serve as a reminder that the most real lives are formed with purpose and elegance, rather than hurry.